Okay, I gotta practice. I hope you've had a chance. It's only been up for a little while. But this week it's January 18th, Friday, January 18th, and we are here at the new set back at TG Central. I'm really leaning towards going back to the screen and getting out of the cold. Of course, that's because it's been pouring here and windy, ripping down things, knocking over trees. It's been an exciting week here in California, losing power. Anyway, I tried to go to Office Depot yesterday. I needed some ink. They were closed, no power. Anyway, the cool thing that I finally got around to editing now that she's left town was the visit with Muriel that we shot earlier last week. And as you have maybe figured out, if you've seen it already, that it was quite different than last year's because, first of all, she had played so much. She taught like 6 hours of classes the day before, then did a radio show. This was on Monday of last week. A radio show at KKUP, same place I did. I'll get to my radio show thing in a few minutes. But and so Tuesday morning when we shot that video, she was in pain. And so I said, well, tell you what, don't play very much, but maybe I'll just ask you to show me a song. So that's what happened. We sat down, and I still have a lot of work to do on this because I didn't really get around to it till now. But what's kind of cool, if you've watched it and haven't quite got figured out what's happening there, it opens up with a G at the 12th fret, a C at the 13th fret, and a D. So these are all on the top 3 strings. Hitting the G first, and then the top 2 notes, and then hitting an A. Well, it's really an E harmonic on the A string at the 19th fret, artificial, hitting it with your fingertip and plucking it with your thumb, and then grabbing the 2nd and 3rd strings. Gotta look down for those harmonics. She did a workshop for us too. We'll have some of that a little bit later. And she plays one particular song, I think it's View from Space, where the whole thing is harmonics. She's doing all kinds of stuff with her right hand, and the whole time her eyes are glued here. And after she did that, I pointed out to all the students there, I said, you know, you've probably all heard me say, don't look at your right hand ever. Keep your eyes on your left. I had to, of course, take it back, because when you're doing something like that, what's the one I play like this? Anyway, so out of shape in this. But when you're playing artificial harmonics, the secret is this fingertip should be fairly locked straight and touching the spot, like if you're going to hit the 12th fret. And you're either going to play it with your thumb inside your hand like that, or if you're doing something else with bass notes, with your ring finger. Because if you try to do it with your middle finger, there's more chance your first finger is going to move. So you've got to keep this stationary while this plucks or this plucks. Anyway, okay, today's tip on artificial harmonics. You could practice this. A couple of my students are working on some songs. You can practice this just playing different notes on the E string. Play the E, then fret an F and move 1 fret to the 13th, 14th, 15th, and you could work your way back. That's also how I start off Bethina. And then real harmonics. Anyway, okay, ramble on, ramble on. What I mostly want to talk about was the fun I had hanging out with Muriel. So, of course, what we did in the second part, first we talked about icing and injuries and stretching and stuff and things like that. And then we got into a little bit about nail care, but then she showed me how she plays Close to You. And I got to work on it. I haven't had a chance to really look back at it till I got around to looking at the video. So, coming up next week, one more part where we turn the tables. I was ready to sign off, and she asked me to show her a song. Let you see what that is. You'll see what that is next week. It turned out to be really fun. What else has gone on around here? Well, we've had some new stuff, a lot of new lessons, 4 new lessons this week. It's been a while since we've pumped out that many. And let's see, we started the week with, well, I won't necessarily put them in order. We had Doug gave us a brand new tuning, CGAD. How many of you have heard of CGAD tuning? Go ahead. Wait, I can't put my hand up. But it's not that complicated. It's like DADGAD, D-A-D-G-A-D, which means you've tuned the top 2 strings down to an A and a D, and then the sixth string down as well to D. But in the case of C-Gad, you take the sixth and fifth strings down another step. So the sixth string goes to C, the fifth string goes to G, the D and the G you leave alone, and then the B string goes to A, and the high E string goes to D. Now, so that means we had two exotic tunes this week. Well, exotic tunings. I can't say the songs were exotic. I really liked what Doug did in the little instrumental part, kind of changing the harpsichord part. When I first saw that he'd done In My Life, I thought, oh wait, we already have like 3 versions of In My Life up here. This is completely different. So I encourage you to check it out in the C-Gad tuning. And then, while you're getting close to that, you might try Bron Rar, because that's what my lesson that came out this week, with 3 C's in there, the B string going up to C, and of course I think you knew that was coming because last week we had the acoustic snapshot of it. So anyway, that was a really fun lesson to put together, and I hope a few of you have had a chance to tackle it. Then what else? Max brought us Nirvana's version of David Bowie's tune, which we've had up for a while, The Man Who Sold the World. And Vanessa brought us another band and song I was not familiar with. It was Kiss and Say Goodbye by the Manhattans. And anyway, so thanks Vanessa for spreading all of our wings a little bit. Pretty cool. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, last week, so the news didn't get up last week till like Sunday. Today it's going to happen. Today. Well, I predict that now. It's Friday morning here. But last Friday afternoon, I went to KKUP to visit with my old friend David Stafford, who, again, I've known for like 40 years. I met him when I was a teenager. And we reminisced about old times, spent about 45 minutes. I played through a few tunes, opened up with Bluesland. Then went into a few other tunes that were kind of unplanned. I had this list. I want to show you the list because I sort of put together a set of songs that I was thinking about playing. I had 4 or 5 that I thought were important. Those included what else? This has finally got a handle on so I hope you get a chance to listen to the podcast that we've now put out from Friday's radio show, and that not inspired me, but at least it let me know that I also have a bunch of other old radio shows that I think it's time to resurrect and put in our podcast channel over at iTunes. So there's links to that in various places around here. What else? Oh, so the other things on the list, let's see, that was Bluesland, and I had this on there. Didn't get to it. Then there were a few others. Oh, and that's because you probably didn't get to see the list very well. But one I put down there kind of as random that I've been finally playing again after a couple of years. When Dave saw this on the list, remember a couple weeks ago, I tried to get through that intro and it just totally bombed. Oh, something else I played in here really bombed, and that was, I guess I'm going to tell you that story. I hadn't really planned on it, but I was having so much fun playing Josie that at one point I thought, oh, I'm I'm going to do another verse. And I thought, oh no, it's going to take too long because we had kind of limited time. So those elements of confusion, should I play another verse, should I take it again, or should I start heading out, led me to complete meltdown. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it because it was really funny. And when Dave suggested I play Whitebird, I said, I thought, it's long. It's going to take up a lot of time. Anyway, it was great. So there were two really cool highlights in that one, and the song I played, the last thing I played, which when I was driving in, I think we talked about this on the air, maybe not, I think I did, but when I was driving in, I heard a bluegrassy version of what I finally figured out was The Last Steam Engine Train. I'd never heard it done by anything other than solo guitar. So I mentioned that to Dave when I rolled in, and he says, "Oh, well, why don't you play your version?" I thought, oh, that'd be great. Of course, it wasn't on my list, and I had a few others that I wanted to do, but that is one of those songs I can play most of the time. So of course, instead of that, I played a different train song. You probably already figured out which one that was. Let's see, did I have anything else I needed to tell you about? Talked about the songs. Oh, we did have one more thing. We're still on the sending out packs, and so we released, thanks to me finally finishing the Led Zeppelin tune I was working on, we did put out a new Led Zeppelin 5-pack. What's on there? Fool in the Rain, Cashmere, Going to California, Ramble On, and Brawn Roar. And I think in the lesson on that I talk about it was really cool to stumble upon this live version from 1970 and find the part in there that of course I can't play because I'm not going into that tuning now. But in any case, I think that's it. I'm checking out for today. All my notes are checked off. Talked about podcasts, Muriel, new stuff, played a few tunes, not too many. I think I'm going to go practice Close to You and work on my artificial harmonics. You might try the same too.